Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. After Mercedes collected their fourth consecutive 1-2 finish of 2019, there seems to be a lot of doom and gloom around the sport. People are calling it boring, predictable and declaring that the season is already over. Whilst there is no denying that the Silver Arrows do look in control, we've only had 4 races and there is still a hell of a long way to go. But even if they do dominate, it is still well worth tuning in. Here are 7 reasons to keep watching F1 in 2019. First up, and Bottas is on form. Even if this season does end up as the Mercedes show, it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't get a great title fight. Valtteri Bottas has started strong this year and for now at least, seems to be getting that luck that deserted him at the start of 2018. He's won 2 of the opening 4 races and has picked up 2 pole positions along the way. So over both the race distance and 1 lap, he has shown that he can challenge teammate Lewis Hamilton. Perhaps we could be on for a 2016 2.0, maybe not as bitter and okay, Mercedes have said they won't let it get to that stage. But if they have 2 drivers going for the title with potentially no challenge from behind, it's hard to see how they can stop that unless of course they decide to call team orders. Next up, and there is of course Ferrari's power struggle. Despite being many people's favourites coming into 2019, they have had a difficult start to the season. They were off the pace for one reason or another in Australia, China and to a lesser extent in Baku. But remember, they should have at least won in Bahrain and could have had a 1-2. So the pace is clearly there to some degree, and with the rest of the season still to go, they could yet challenge Mercedes. However, even if they don't, there is a very intriguing battle brewing between their 2 drivers. Sebastian Vettel is very much seen as the team's number 1 driver and the Scuderia have said as much, but Charles Leclerc is not making it easy for him. The youngster is showing that he can at least match the 4-time world champion for pace and isn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with him. There are more than a few teammate battles that are well worth keeping an eye on in 2019, but this Ferrari fight is going to be fascinating. Third on my list is the midfield fight. One thing that did turn out to be true in pre-season testing was the tight midfield. Yes, I'm playing that card again. From the 4th place team all the way down to the 9th, it is incredibly close this year and we've already seen surprises in the opening 4 rounds. Renault and Haas, the 2 favourites for that Formula 1.5 title, have both struggled, whereas McLaren, Alfa and even Racing Point have delivered some strong performances and shown some solid pace. And with the likes of Renault and Haas getting off to a difficult start, the door has been left open for those teams to pick up some decent early points which could prove absolutely critical come the end of the season. And that's not to mention that within that midfield you've got a number of intriguing stories including Hülkenberg versus Ricciardo, Kvyat's return to F1 and can Grosjean keep it out of the wall? That's a joke, by the way. Lots to keep an eye on in that group of 5 teams. Number 4, and can Gasly recover? It's been a rocky start to 2019 for Pierre and he has struggled to get anywhere near the pace of his teammate. But can he turn it around? Well, he showed in Baku that he can race his way back through the pack if he needs to and demonstrated some pretty decent speed. In fact, I believe Red Bull described it as his best weekend to date. So there is absolutely plenty of hope still there for Pierre. Of course, he's up against one seriously quick driver in Max Verstappen and matching him was always going to be very difficult. But as I've said so many times over the last few weeks, there is still a long way to go. And if he can carry his Baku race performance into the next few Grand Prix, he could well bounce back quite nicely. He is certainly one to keep an eye on. That leads us on quite nicely to number 5 and to Red Bull and Honda, more specifically, the apparent rise of the Japanese manufacturer. Sure, they've still got a long way to go, but they appear to have finally got control of all those reliability issues they had at McLaren, and more importantly, the power unit is quick, much quicker than many predicted over the winter. Actually, Red Bull look as though they are no worse off than they were last year, and many may well argue that they are actually better off than they were with Renault. All that said, it is very possible, dare I say probable, that we could see Honda take their first win since Jenson Button at Hungary in 2006. Also, with Max Verstappen on form and impressing so far, certainly in comparison to his 2018 start, Red Bull could, and I emphasise the word could, take on Ferrari for second in the Constructors' Championship. Okay, perhaps that is a big ask, but they are progressing and this season will be all about development. And there you go, that's another reason to keep watching that development race. So much is going to change over the course of this year. The 6th one on my list is the Future Stars. This season saw 3 highly rated rookies make it onto the F1 grid. And for me at least, watching them grow, develop and seeing how they get on is surely going to be a great reason to keep watching. It really does feel like we're at the start of a new era in F1 with the likes of Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc being joined by Russell, Norris and Albon. Whether it's liked by some people or not, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel are both in the latter stages of their career, and let's be honest, Kimi Raikkonen has got to retire at some point before the 27th century. So are we looking at the start of the changing of the old guard, if you like? Eyes are certainly starting to look towards the future. Alexander Albon and Lando Norris have both made very good starts to their F1 careers, and George Russell is, well, doing just about the best he can with that Williams. It is going to be absolutely fascinating to watch how they all get on over a 21 race season. Can they keep up their promising starts and all of that? And if you throw into that mix some of the youngsters currently doing battle in F2 and soon, of course, in F3, the future really does look bright for Formula 1. And last on the list, number 7, it's because it's F1 and you just never know. Sure, many will say it's predictable and you always know who's going to win and who will be on the podium and blah, blah, blah. But it's that slim, outside, almost impossible chance that we might see a surprise result, a shock podium, and hey, perhaps even Williams scoring a point that keeps us watching. F1 has never been a sport where every team on the grid can fight for the title, and let's be honest, it never will be. But it's those underdog stories that we long to see, and if you look back through history, they are often the moments we remember so fondly. Olivier Panis in Monaco 96, Damon Hill winning at Spa back in 98, Pastor Maldonado at Spain in 2012. Even the likes of Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez grabbing podiums in recent years. Most of us love that. And although those results don't happen all the time, they could happen, and that's the point. Plus, if they happened all the time, they wouldn't really be shock results. Anyway. Oh, and there is a bonus one for you all on this list. We'll all be missing it in January, and even the prospect of testing will start to get us excited. Championship aside, there is plenty to keep an eye on this season, so try and enjoy all of those subplots. Do you agree with some of the points on the list, and what will keep you watching F1 in 2019 if it does end up as another year of one-team domination? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be back soon with more content as always, but in the meantime, you can follow me on social media. All the links you need are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.